So you're working at a company and you're trying to get over into one of the big tech companies. Today I'm going to talk about how I transitioned from working at Wells Fargo to now working at Microsoft, obviously one of the largest tech companies in the world. And hopefully I can provide some good advice for you if you're trying to make that transition. But first, welcome to the channel. My name is Kwame. If you like the content that we put on this channel, feel free to hit the like button or subscribe to the channel. It really does help your boy. And yeah, let's get right into it. So first of all, I've been working at Wells Fargo since 2016. It is now obviously 2024. I have been working at Microsoft now for the past 2 years. And so majority of my career, I've been working at Wells Fargo. I actually wanted to work at Wells Fargo, or I wanted to work for a bank, but I wanted to work in trading. And I actually did get that job. I was working with quants, so quantitative analysts, in Wells Fargo trading, right? Wells Fargo sales and trading. That's a tongue twister. But there was some point in my career that I realized that I actually wanted to work for a tech company, not only for the equity option, so vested stock, which Wells Fargo and a lot of banks do not provide, especially for like junior or senior level analysts, and also just the higher pay. So at the job that I had at Wells Fargo, when I left, I was slotted to make up to 180,000, but I wanted to leave because I wanted stock in the company, right? That's kind of my main reason. And also I felt like tech was progressing so much faster than the banking industry. And so I wanted to get a taste of what that was. And honestly, I haven't looked back since. But the first thing that I would recommend for somebody who wants to transition from banking, but also from any industry into the tech industry is make sure that your skill set translates. That means if you're doing marketing for your company, make sure that there are marketing positions for the tech company that you want to work for. Or let's just say you want to break into any tech company. I mean, there's marketing jobs in all of the company, but marketing may be a very small and competitive sector, whereas sales is a huge sector. And so like digital marketing and creation of digital products is going to be larger in the tech space than it is in other spaces. And so just make sure your particular career translates into that new job that you're going to. For instance, for me, I've been in data analytics and database architecture. So right now I do database architecture and kind of like a little bit of reporting and developing insights for the business at Microsoft. And so I support sales with everything that I do. And that's because I came from a sales and trading background, right? So I supported sales and trading doing quantitative analysis at Wells Fargo for traders. And so that easily translates to sales. I can easily develop reports and create predictive models for Microsoft sales divisions. So super easy, right? And it's translatable. The second thing that I would recommend is if you are trying to transition, and this is piggybacking off of the first thing, if you do not have that skill set, develop that skill set. And I know it's easier said than done. A lot of people don't know what they want to do when they graduate from college. And so unfortunately, it does take some time to realize like what you want to do. But my recommendation would be to do a couple of things, right? Either, unfortunately, I'm not a school person, but you can go back to school, or you can do boot camps and self-teach whatever skill that you want to. I know people who have gotten decoding boot camps and are now React or front end full stack developers, and they work at big tech companies or small tech companies. And also, if you work for a smaller tech company, you can transition easier than if you say work in the banking industry and you weren't working in like the tech sector of the bank. And so that's another thing. If you want that experience and you want to up your skills, you either go to school to do it, or you transition to a department in your industry or at your company where you are now directly in tech, right? Or directly tech facing. A lot of times, and this is what I would recommend, is looking for business analyst jobs where you can work with developers or you can work with coders. And this will give you a little taste of what it takes to actually code or to actually like architect databases or to, you know, develop an app or develop a product, a digital product. And so this will, you know, kind of be the first step and really get your feet wet. So definitely try out different avenues from trying to upskill yourself. What I wouldn't recommend, honestly, and this has not worked for me and anyone that I know, is getting a bunch of certifications. Depends. If you're going into cybersecurity, then maybe those will help. And I think they do, but I haven't seen any other industry where that works out. So for instance, the dev teams that we work with, a lot of them are getting like AWS certified, and then they'll go to Amazon. If you work with databases and you want to have expertise on a specific server type, then that makes sense. But other than that, if you have no experience, you should definitely try to be a BA or a project manager first, and then move on to coding. The third thing is definitely network. I know it is extremely challenging to network, especially in like remote. A lot of tech companies are fully remote, and so you won't be able to get in contact with people in tech. I know most of the careers at Microsoft are fully remote, but there are those bases in like Redmond, or I mean, there is one in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, but honestly, nobody there works in data architecture, and so even if I wanted to work in that space, like going there wouldn't help, or meeting people from there wouldn't help, but it would help more than not having anyone that I know at all, right? So how I built my network is honestly over the internet. Like, get on LinkedIn, talk to recruiters, put your resume out there, and make sure that recruiters are looking for jobs for your career and what you want, and they'll reach back out to you. And honestly, what I've done in the past is all the recruiters who've reached out to me in the past, I just kept them in contact and asked, what will it take for me to work in a tech position in your company? Or what type of experience are you looking for? And so really just reaching out to the recruiters for those companies and making sure that they're in your back pocket is how I would build my network. And that's how I built my network before. And I have 2 solid recruiters from Google, but I also have better recruiters that I've worked with at Microsoft. So shout out you guys. And honestly, going to tech events and tech meetups really helped me to meet people in tech as well, even though it didn't really do anything. Like, I didn't really meet anybody in tech that helped me to get this job at Microsoft, but I do know people who have gotten jobs simply from meeting someone who is a recruiter. So at like a tech event. So definitely don't count that out. Continue, and I mean this, continue to interview. Like, in my life, I've probably went on over 100 interviews. And what I've learned, honestly, out of those interviews is just how to communicate and to look for what people want. So like, this is how the interview process works. And this works for any place. But you have your screening, which is typically by the recruiter. Then you'll talk to the hiring manager. And then you'll likely talk to people that are adjacent to your future team. And then you'll probably talk to your team. So in total, it could be 4 interviews that you're going on. If you can't even get past the first interview, then you're botched. You're done. So my recommendation is to make sure that you're going on interviews, like tons and tons of interviews with tech companies, and really getting a feel for what they look for, and really getting a feel for how to talk to these people, what language they speak, like, and especially for the role that you're applying for. Don't go crazy applying for a whole bunch of different roles. Stick to something that you know how to talk about. Like, I'm not going to apply for a marketing position. I hardly know anything about marketing, especially marketing digital products. Trying to get better at it, especially for YouTube and content creation. But like, stick to what you know, because you're gonna be done. You're gonna be finished, filleted, if you're not the subject matter expert and they know more than you about the role from a technical standpoint than you do. So definitely continue the interview. Just keep interviewing till you get the position. This video is getting a little too long, so I'll cut it off here, but be consistent. Like, I wanted to get into tech, like, I don't know, in 2020. And it took me 2 years to do it. Mind you, I've been building this resume in tech this entire time for, 4 years prior to that. So it took me 6 years in total to actually get the job that I wanted, right? And so, like, for everybody who's trying to transition to tech, don't stop applying, don't stop interviewing, like I said before, but don't stop applying to places. All because you get rejected does not mean you stop applying. Do you know, look, to go on 100 interviews, you know how many times you have to be rejected? A lot. There was a point in my life where I got rejected from so many people. But, you build up the resume, you build up the catalog, and then you get there. So, just stay consistent. And this goes for everything. So every step that I said before this, continue to upskill yourself. Like, continue to network. Continue to do all these things. Like, don't stop until you get what you want. And so, yeah, like, that's the last thing. Just be consistent, because you will get there. Trust me. But I hope you like these steps. If you did, like the video, or comment on the video, or both, or subscribe. But if not, I will catch you on the next one.